Sarasati out here in Singapore. You are listening to the Night Owl podcast. And yes, sometimes it's at night and sometimes it's during the day. And damn it, today it's during the day. It's about 12:45 out here on a Sunday. We just finished up Thaipusam 2020 and it's been a cathartic experience to say the least. So growing up, I didn't have the opportunity to do any of these things. And so what I've done instead is as soon as I had the opportunity to learn more about temple traditions, about religious customs, stuff like that, I have gotten on the bandwagon and learned from the people that I think that could teach me the best. It's not to say that I've given up my spirituality. I haven't, but there was something to acknowledge and to remember when we look at religious experiences as well. Obviously, everything started for a specific purpose and it caught fire and people copied and went along and adjusted along the way. And the way things were done back then are no longer the way things are done now. And that's okay. I'm all right with that. I have no problem with it. I'm going along and listening and learning because I see the meaning in everything that we do. I see where it began and I see where it is now. And I start to recognize that while we have a source of inspiration to keep our faith alive, to keep hope alive, to feel like we're doing something towards our redemption, towards our karma, the sacrifice that it took back then versus the sacrifice that it is right now is not the same. Back then, we didn't, decorate the house from top to from the stairs all the way up to the roof because we didn't have the means, and it was seen as excess, right? It was seen as too much. It was seen as, oh, you're spending money on this, but then what do you do for food afterwards? It was like that back then. And now it's like, we have enough to go around. Why not? And it is beautiful and it is exciting and festive and all of those things. But I also remember what it really is meant to be about. When I think of those things, those sacrifices, those sources of inspiration to keep our lives going, to keep it filled with meaning, to feel like we're doing something towards, a better afterlife, things like that, I wonder where they come from, when they evolve, how they evolve. Obviously, there is a aesthetic to it that we want it to look beautiful. It used to be that you needed it to look clean, and now it's to look beautiful. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as your heart is in the right place. So when I think of those things as far as sources of inspiration, I look at the intention. Everything comes down to intention. When you have a mala in your hand and you're doing a mantra 108 times because that's an auspicious number, because it's in multiple of 3, do you make sure that your whole heart is in the right place for every time your mouth utters the mantra? Or is the hope that in the 108 times you do it one time, completely in tune with your spirit, with the universe, with your whole heart and mind clear one time? Because that's how powerful it can be one time. I mean, obviously, if you can do it 108 times, damn, you're awesome. But not all of us can. A lot of us have this fight going on inside of our heads where we're distracted by the thoughts of day-to-day life, the list we need to finish, what's going up next. I only have this much time to pray, like any of those things. And then that one time in that 108 becomes that one pure moment that you are fully in tune with everything that you need to be. The reason I named this episode sources of inspiration is because I find myself in a place right now, especially after this Thaipusam, and watching everyone and everything and how people react and how people judge each other and what they consider heavy and hard and difficult. Like each one his own, man. I'm not here to judge at all, but watching all of those things and being reminded that there is such an intricacy to the process itself and such a diversity in the way people believe and the way people worship and the way they come out and show up in functions, the way they dress for temple, all those things really, really matter to me because it shows me that life is robust. Life is full of possibility because look at the many, many examples before me in person, live, right? So when I think of sources of inspiration, here I am talking about content. Because honestly, I am a content creator. I love creating content. I love putting together posts. But sometimes I feel like I'm drained, like I can't find anything new. I've been told so many times, stop making new stuff. Use the stuff you've had before. Sausage your content. I mean, Gary Vee, I love you. I get what you mean. It shouldn't be such a process to find a piece of content to create. But honestly, why not create new if you can? I am surrounded by content every day. Everything moves me. Everything affects me. Everything changes the way I think. And nothing more than social media to prove that fact, because I swear to God, I pick up my phone to check the date on something in my calendar and find a notification and go off on a tangent. So yes, I am surrounded by content all day long. And for me, the sources of inspiration are usually from real life, from real conversations, for things I've physically seen. But they are also from the things I use in my stories, from the content that I watch and read and like and comment and share on. It's all of those things put together, which is why I'm dragged in 100,000 different directions sometimes, and I struggle a little bit. I feel drained a lot of the time, which is why I tend to keep to myself. I have a lot of friends. Oh, sorry, acquaintances. I have a lot of acquaintances. I talk to every one of them. People find me strange and mysterious and just weird because I am open enough to speak to everybody. I'm not afraid of what you might think of me. If I feel like you did something great, I'm going to tell you. If I feel like, somehow you're reaching for help in a post that you shared, I'm going to ask, hey, are you okay? Because I need you to know that your post did exactly what it was meant to. You posted because you needed someone to care, and I'm showing you that I noticed, and so I'm caring. So all of these things become sources of inspiration for me. And right now, I have been stalling on this podcast. I've done it so many times before, and sometimes I got to go away for a while and not come back. And sometimes I post 2-3 times a day, and I feel good about it. Sometimes I look at my feed, I'm like, oh my gosh, there is a post here, and there's a podcast after it, and then there are 3 more posts, and there's no podcast in between. I feel bad because there is no system. There is no system. It's when inspiration strikes. And so because of that, I've been feeling like, what do I talk about? I don't want to talk about the same things I post about. I want the content to be so diverse and so real that it actually reaches so many people on so many different platforms. And while that is a magnificent idea, the application of it is a little more insane, and it does take a lot out of me. So recently I've been looking forward to, well, what do I talk about? I had this idea in my head and I didn't write it down, and now I don't know what I want to talk about. And I get on the phone to record, and suddenly it's like I was going this direction, and suddenly something happened, and my thought process took a left turn, and it's no longer that same message. And I'm hoping it's not contrite and it's not, ridiculously judgmental. I need to make sure that the process, the message itself has the right intention. So like I said, when I adapt to the world around me, when I immerse myself in someone else's beliefs and rituals and ideas, it gives me a chance to open up my mind to something different than I'm used to. Honestly speaking, praying for me is an all-day thing. I have God in my heart. It's a constant conversation between me and God, always in my mind. And sometimes when I'm being pissy, or if I'm being dramatic, it is still a conversation with God, but it's a little more, not so upbeat, and it's a little more self-judgmental, and it's a little more self-critical, and I feel the need to cry or the need to lash out and break something. Sometimes it's difficult like that. But the point is, for me, spirituality is a constant, everyday, all-day thing. It is part of the way that I cook. It's the way that I serve food to people. It's the way that I respond to everyone that asks me questions or messages me or sends me heart emojis, like those instant reactions that you got on the stories. It's all of those things. So here I am telling you, I need to go back and I need to look at the things that I post, because I don't post just for the hell of it. I don't post because you asked me to. I post because I feel like it's necessary. I post because I feel like you said something, it touched me, it changed me fundamentally, and I needed the world to know that this matters to me, and maybe, just maybe, it matters to you too. So stay tuned, you guys. I am doing my best to catch up, because I do want this to be the year where I have 365 podcast episodes in the year, because I have yet to do it once a day, every day, without fail. And even then, it's almost like, how do I date these things? How do I make sure that, the dates correspond with the content that I'm talking about? Because I do talk about current events. Today I talked about Thaipusam, and Thaipusam is technically, what day is it today? It is the 8th of February, and I'm sure that I haven't posted all the way through January, and I'm wondering about the dating of all these things. So it is a process. I am enjoying it though. Creatively, it's pushing my boundaries. It's really forcing me to think about, where I get all the content from. How do I make it relevant? How do I use all the negativity and turn it on its head? How do I do what, let me tell you, how do I do what Escobar in Singapore does when something goes wrong? When they heard about the coronaviruses, they immediately went out and put a deal on Corona beers. And you know what? I admire them for using a difficult situation to turn it into great marketing. And that's what it takes, you guys. That's what it really takes. For a comedian to come out with content means they've been through some shit. And when they came out the other side, they saw the irony in all of it. They really did. I mean, honestly, I really wanted to jump on and scare the hell out of everybody, because everyone's run off to the store and they got toilet paper and they got, noodles. And it's funny the things that they do pick up, because toilet paper, yes, okay, you can wipe your ass, that's great and everything, but eventually they're going to buy more toilet paper. What about the stuff that would actually feed your body? Like, where is the nutritional value in noodles? Especially packet noodles or cup noodles. I mean, every one of us in college definitely went through that phase where we were just broke as hell, and this is the best way we could feed ourselves. But guess what? It does not feed our bodies, and is the reason there is an epidemic of adult acne breakouts, is the reason we have irritable bowel syndrome and hypertension and acid reflux in droves, actually, because we don't take care of the things we need to take care of. The things we should have run out of, we didn't run out of. We didn't run out of fresh fruit and vegetables, if you noticed. Why? Because they're perishable. We didn't run out of canned goods. I don't think anyone ran off and got like a bunch of canned goods. I don't think that, rice went off the shelves because no one thinks about how to sustain life. They only think about luxury products, and that's sad. But you know what? To each his own again. And back to the content at hand, I am here to talk about inspiration and the various sources of inspiration and how I'm going to use all of said inspiration in my content. So going forward, y'all better watch out and let me know if I make sense. Please let me know if I make sense, because if I sound like an idiot out here, I'm blaming all. No, I'm not. It's my fault. But I'm looking forward to hearing your comments, questions, concerns. Drop them below. I'll get to you as soon as I can. And in the meantime, y'all take care.